What's happening, party people? It is Coastal Fitness TV episode 5, and in this episode, I'm going to share a new book that I've been reading and been putting into practice over the last week. And then I'm going to show you a little bit more behind what a single arm hang is and how to get the most out of that stretch. In this week's tip of the week, I share 2 tips around drinking and Christmas parties around the holidays. So I hope that you find some value in this episode and have a great week. So recently I started reading the bullet journal method and have found it to be of tremendous value with around the idea of journaling, because most of the time, or in long form journaling, which I have traditionally done, I found it too time consuming, and if it didn't get done, it wasn't a big enough priority for my life, and so I just would fall off the bandwagon pretty easily. Whereas this shows you how to basically bullet point by bullet point just offload whatever's on your mind at the time, sort of recap the day. You can even use it as a food journal if you want. It's just very diverse, and you can turn it into whatever you want around the journaling space. But the main idea is for me, and why I started doing it, was just to sort of keep track of stuff. And I know when I do actually write it down pen to paper, I remember it better. And then with the idea of a journal practice, you're going to come across material over and over, and so it continues to remind you that, oh yeah, there was this thing that I needed to check out, or this task that I needed to do. And this system provides you the opportunity to basically integrate a to-do list or a task list, a planner, and just a straight up journal. And so it puts those 3 and brings it all into one place on a pen to paper notebook. And so far, it's been a tremendous value to me. Compared to traditional ways of just journaling, however you choose to do it, I find this to be super beneficial just because it's very short form, it's very punchy, if that's the right word, but you're able to then, once you have a few weeks or a few days of data, you can then review at the end of the week or at the end of the month and sort of look for patterns throughout the course of your life, the record of your life, and find patterns to, oh, okay, I feel super tired, and oh yeah, that's because I only got 6 hours of sleep every night this week. And so then you can, once it's brought the awareness piece around, you can then start to play with it and start to manipulate some variables in order to get a better sleep, just in that example. So far, I'm only about a week in, but I've found a huge value in just offloading my brain of like, okay, I know I have 4 or 5 things that need to be getting done, but you forget 2 or 3 of them, and then you remember on your drive home, and you can't write anything down, and you're just like, okay, how do you solve that? How do you do better with that? And the bullet journal is a great tool for just getting stuff on paper, and then again, the same sort of principle of going through and reviewing it as a practice. The book talks about using it as a mindfulness practice, and you can definitely use it in that way. I know some people who use the bullet journal use it in a gratitude-oriented way. Other people use it as you can integrate a habit tracker in there as well. There's a ton of resources out there on YouTube especially, but also on the Bullet Journal website, where you can find more ideas, templates, or just how people are using it and then integrate it into their lives. But even so, just being in, literally last weekend, started watching the YouTube videos on what it's about, how to use it, and then starting to read the book at the same time. And I'm only about a third of the way through, but still, it's really, really good overview of, hey, if you've tried journaling and you see the value in journaling, why not start with bullet points? And it can be as complex or as simple as you want it to be, but it's just a great platform versus just completely writing out thoughts, because writing a paragraph of thoughts versus writing 6 bullet points takes less time. So so far it's been, again, it's just super valuable, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. Now that we're coming in close to the new year, I could have easily waited until New Year's to start journaling again, but I have sort of had this idea over the last few years that I don't have to wait for New Year's to try something new or to try and do something that's going to improve my life in some way. So I just started last week, and hopefully I'm in better practice for New Year's, and then that'll give me more feedback, and then I'll just springboard into New Year's a lot better and a lot faster with whatever New Year's resolution I do come up with. But you never have to wait in order to try something new. You can start right now. And so like I said, I'm a week in and have had great benefit from it so far. So if you are interested in the bullet journal method, I'll link their YouTube channel in the description, as well as the book and the website that you can grab. But if you're like me and you see the value in journaling but haven't quite been able to make it work quite yet, I highly recommend you check this out and learn the system, and then most of all, cater it to yourself, however you want to use it. And most of all, I just hope that this little section provided you some value. The exercise of the week is going to be a little bit different than what I have normally done in the past. What we're going to do is called the single arm hang, and what we're really trying to do is, once we're gripping the bar, we want to stretch in through not only the torso, the shoulder, but even into the hip. You want the head to drop so that it's relaxed. You're not keeping tension in the neck at all. On top of that, you're trying to let the rest of your body sink as you're holding on. With my right arm, I was letting my right leg just let go and melt. On top of that, you saw me play around with putting my leg underneath. That was just to put my hip flexor a little bit more on focus versus just getting it into the shoulder and into. You can also see that I was playing a little bit with angles of where I was holding my torso, changed angles. I pushed my hip out a little bit. You might be able to pick up on some of those, so you can play around with this so it's not just a stretch and let everything melt. You can play around with some of the angles so you can get a better stretch overall. Welcome back. We got another tip, and in fact I've got 2 tips for you this week, and they revolve around office parties. A lot of Christmas parties are coming around, and whether you are in an office or you're just going to Christmas parties, the alcohol is a-flowing in plenty. So I wanted to give you 2 tips to help you strategize around your office party and not throw your goals completely out the window and just say, screw it, I'll just have all of it. So tip number 1 is, if at all possible, before you go to said Christmas party, try and train. And train, I use the term loosely. do any sort of exercise or activity, because you're going to A, actually get it done, but also B, you're going to change how your body reacts to metabolizing stuff and improve your metabolism. So in essence, you're trying to metabolize the alcohol faster so you don't get the awesome hangover symptoms that sometimes people get when they go overboard. So that is tip number 1. Get exercise the day of the party before you actually go to the party. Let me write that down. Activity before bevies. That's tip number 1. Activity before bevies. Standing for beverages, if you don't get my lingo. I like this one. So tip number 2 is the +1 water rule. So in essence, the easiest math that you can place to this is however many drinks you were planning on having, you have to have 6 waters. So if you're having 5 drinks, you have to have 6 water or glasses of water so that you are staying hydrated throughout the evening. You are still hopefully playing within that fun buzz area, but at the end of the day and hopefully the next morning, you don't get any ridiculous hangover symptoms. So these tips are trying to basically either reduce or completely remove the hangover feelings that you may feel the day after a party, Christmas party, office party, or anything else, so that you can actually carry on with your day and hopefully get another training session in later on, or basically just not take a full day of not doing a thing. So hope both of those make sense and that you try them out, and hopefully they help, because being hungover is never fun. So happy parties, and we'll see you in the next one.